Hi everyone and welcome. I'm here once again with Ben and Simon. My name's Rebecca Jackson. We're all Microsoft MVPs and super passionate about the digital workplace employee experience. And you might have seen one of our previous videos about camera on, camera off. And that's been a little bit topical at the moment. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of tweets and blog posts and things, so we thought we'd revisit it briefly just to do around the table on what we're thinking about that particular topic. So I want to get straight into it because I can put all of our details in the bit down the bottom, right? And kind of just throw to Simon. What do you think about Zoom Face?
Yeah, well, I mean, we are seeing the new organisational fatigue as people cope with, back-to-back Zoom meetings, Teams meetings, and that is creating new issues that I think people need to think about. I think the first issue is, do you really need the meeting? Are all these conversations required? And then I think it flows into the conversation we had, Rebecca, in our last one, which is, are we offering people the choices about whether they should have their camera on? Is it really just what you would have done in a teleconference before we had all this fabulous technology and you can really get the issue done quickly? Or could you even cut it even shorter and use that really old Alexander Graham Bell technology called the telephone and actually spoke to someone one-to-one quickly and resolved something? Because I think every organisation is just facing so much pressure, so much dynamic, that exhaustion, whether it's coming out of lockdowns and 2 years of COVID, but definitely that exhaustion that's sitting there through the FaceTime on screen, that's certainly a real phenomenon. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that has recently come up for me was that affects different people differently. So whether that's demographic, whether that's some sort of personality trait, who knows, there's probably more research to do on that. But there's certainly people out there who are committed to the video calls and aren't bothered by it. For other people, it deeply affects them to a point of, being really traumatized by the working experience with this thing on all the time. And we have to recognize that. So like everything at work, we have to recognize that the technology, the working environment affects different people differently. And we can't just have this, cameras on, cameras off all the time for everyone. It's this sort of blanket rule. It really needs that better understanding of who's around, who's joining this meeting. Obviously, first question is, do we need to really have it? But once you're in there, how is that affecting people, and are you having those honest conversations about how it is affecting you? And also this, you get into secondary effects, like how does it affect the other people to have someone's camera on and off? Like, it's not just about you, it's about the other people around you. What does that do? Primarily sort yourself out, keep yourself stable and whatever else. But there's a whole bunch of things that people have to think about before they start rolling this stuff out consistently and for the long term, basically.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a core thing in there that is an inclusion and diversity thing, and the blanket rules, and I think we know this across all of the technologies and the different areas that we practice in, that it's always, it depends, and we need to kind of help people come to those decisions in a smart way and to be have a bit of empathy and think about each other. And I'm wondering, is the hashtag Teams Face instead of Zoom Face, obviously because of the products that we work with, but what I really liked about that article that talks about Zoom Face that I'll link and stuff is the thinking about body dysmorphia and how people seeing their own face reflected back at them all the time, the impact that has on them. And while I'm always trying to share camera because I do a lot of training, I'm involved in sessions and things like that, there's definitely been some times recently where I've been in a training session and I was emotionally affected. So I turned my camera off. I don't want people to see me upset or distressed at work, or the doorbell rings and I don't want to have people watch me walking away to my door. Like, there's just some really practical stuff in there that I think it's important for organisations to start thinking about people and human beings and realise that blanket rules just don't work if we want to be inclusive.
The other part is...
Sorry, you go, Ben.
One of the things I've sort of maybe changed my mind a little bit with seeing some of these conversations is I originally thought about it as a role modelling experience for the person with the video. So you have a leadership capability, you turn your camera on, and that sets an expectation for everyone else, if you're in a position of seniority, that they are to do the same or expected to do the same thing, and that's the culture you want to encourage in your organisation. And it's probably not that. It's probably not a role modelling behaviour, or that's not the limit of what that turning your video on does. And maybe that's the biggest realisation I've had in the interactions I've had with people about this is it's not just about encouraging others to do the same thing because that's what you want them to do. You really have to think about them and what they want to do and how they want to project themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Simon, did you want to give us a few words to wrap up?
Yeah, I just think, it is really important to think about everyone is different. Everyone's in a different situation. That situation might be their own emotional state. It might be the physical location they're in. Lots of people work in share houses, other environments where it's complicated to turn the camera on. Just allow people to adapt to an environment that makes sense.
Yep, I think that's a really, really good place to leave it. And obviously we'll show you the video that we did on this previously and point you to some stuff in the bit below, all of the YouTube things. But thank you very much, Ben and Simon, for this chat. Thank you to everyone who's listened to it, and we'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your positions and your experiences. If you want to hit us up in the comments or on Twitter or all the places that we say we are, to hear from you. So thank you very much, and I'm going to stop talking.